I am here with Sergeant Christopher P., fellow reenactor in the 54th Regiment of Foot and YouTube person of some sort. We thought that it might be fun here in lovely Fort Griswold?
Yeah.
Fort Griswold, to talk a little bit about reenactment and how we both got involved. So I'll throw it over to you, sir. How did you get involved with the reenactment hobby?
It all kind of goes back to when I was a senior in high school. As part of my senior project, I actually interned at Sturbridge Village for a number of weeks. This was, I think, May of 2012. Mm-hmm. And I actually worked as an interpreter there in the shoe shop. I was there for about 3 weeks. I actually made my own pair of 19th century shoes while I was there, which I still have them to this day. I don't wear them,
Wow.
but I have them. And all the time while I was there, I remember hearing the other interpreters there. They kept talking about this thing, Redcoats and Rebels, and I didn't know what that was. And so I asked them about that, and they explained it to me. And it's the largest Revolutionary War reenactment in southern New England. So I sort of checked the thing out as a spectator, saw the battle, thought it was pretty darn interesting. I kept going there for a number of years, kept coming back as a spectator until eventually, in, I think, August of 2015, I got up the courage to ask if there were any units that were recruiting. And so they pointed me to the direction of the 54th, and I met our Lieutenant Colonel, Steve Gardner, who was then a captain, and haven't looked back. It's been quite a journey.
It always is. It always is. Mine is far less exciting than all that, I dare say. A friend of mine was involved in American Civil War reenactment, and we happened to be doing some yard work at one point, and I was pestering him and pushing him just incessantly, annoying him a great deal, I'm sure, for stories and whatnot. Like, tell me, what was the battle like? How did it feel? Did it feel real? Like, did you fire? Did you shoot anyone? Did you die? Probably annoying him because he wasn't really interested. He was just like, it was an event. It was kind of fun, whatever. But he eventually said to me, like, well, Brandon, if you're so interested in all this stuff, well, why don't you do it? You like the British stuff. Why don't you get involved on that account? And so I'm like, I can get involved. There's a war in this country that has to do with the British. So look up American War of Independence reenactments in my area. Took a little while because in those earlier days, like 2014 or similar time period to yourself, the online presence of a lot of these communities wasn't exactly the best, although we've gotten a lot better in recent years.
Yeah. Only very recently.
Yeah, very, very recent. Brigade.org. Go there. So eventually I managed to find the Northwest Department of the Brigade of the American Revolution. So I was living out in Ohio at the time. And through them I found the website. One of the few groups that had a working website was the 23rd Regiment of Foot. So I reach out to them, I go to one of their events and I start talking to them, and then that was the beginning of me actually getting involved with everything. Now, when I moved over to the UK, of course, for about a year for my master's degree, I largely left the hobby for a while because I was so far away. I did like 1 or 2 events, so I'd fly back and everything, but I was away from it for a little while. But then when I came back to this country, I figured I don't want to move back to Ohio for many reasons, so I wound up going to Massachusetts. I have some family out there, and I'm thinking to myself, like, well, there's not a lot of 23rd guys in this area, but there's other groups, there's a lot of other reenactment groups, so maybe I should try and find another group to enlist with, something a bit more local, so we can do things like this on a regular basis, drilling and whatnot. And that was how, at Battle Road, I was walking along after the battle. I saw some British soldiers marching off down the road. I'm like, I'll follow them, and I'll talk to them about getting involved.
We pretty much ambushed you.
Yeah, pretty much. And the 54th was walking the other way, and Steve pointed me out with his stick, and he said, "That man there," or something equally accosting. Yep. They beat me over the head with a stick. They dragged me to a pub. They told me stories of heroism about King George III and his army. And then I took another shilling, so here I am now.
This is completely true, by the way. This is not an exaggeration.
No. Otherwise, as far as, I dare say, if individuals are looking at getting involved in the reenactment hobby, it's a common question that we both get, not only at reenactments, but of course online, the glorious social media world. Well, would you have any advice for people looking to get started with things?
Yeah, I'll just say what I've said before. the best thing to do is just to come to a reenactment. Just show up, kind of shop around, look at all the units that are there, and kind of treat it like it's a job fair. Go around, ask them all what they're all about, kind of figure out which one is going to be the best fit for you, and then kind of do some research, figure out, the history behind the different groups, figure out which one is the most appealing to you, and then reach out. Most group leaders will have business cards that you can get that will have all of their contact information. I was actually, when I first met with Steve, he gave me his card, and I emailed him about a day or so after I met him at Sturbridge Village, and then from there, after about a week, I scheduled a time to go down to his house and meet with him, and he took my measurements for the uniform, and then about a month later, I was all set to go.
There you go. And that is something that's very important to keep in mind, is that when you show an interest, a genuine interest, and you start talking to these people, they will help you along the way. This hobby is incredible at that, and getting people in the field, situated with everything. I mean, it's very complicated, of course, to put all of this stuff together, but there are people out there who have done it all before, and they will help you to do so. So don't stress out about any of that stuff. And most importantly, actually, don't go buying things beforehand.
No.
Let them talk you through the process, because it's very particular items that you need for a lot of these impressions. And it's very important as well, what you said, unit shopping, window shopping and whatnot, use it as a job fair, is absolutely true. I didn't really do that when I first got involved. Thankfully, I fell in with a group of guys that was still really, really, nice and welcoming to me and everything. But, this is a very, very social hobby. You do an awful lot more than just show up once a month and do the event with these people. It's like a social club is a good way to look at it. You need to make sure that you fit on it not only with how they're doing the battles and what their impressions look like, but you need to make sure that you get along with them socially. And if we were to be a little bit more truthful as far as how I found the 54th, they invited me to dinner with them because they recognized me from online. And I sat down and I talked with a couple of the guys for half an hour, probably an hour and a half?
Several hours.
Several hours, something, yeah. I talk
It all kind of blends together.
Yeah, it does. Basically talking about their philosophy in the hobby, like how do we do things? What sort of social perspectives are we bringing to all of this? And it's very good, sitting down and actually just talking with these people and getting a sense for who they are and how they operate, if you will, making sure that socially as well as martially, it's going to be a good fit. Do your unit shopping above all else, and the best way to do that really is to find an event in your area. Good way to do that. First off, online. If you can't find anything just via simple Google searches, then brigade.org. It's the BAR's website. It's a good way to look for events that way. And then as well on Facebook, you can usually find events that way locally. Worst case scenario, if you really can't find anything, then send one of us a message over the internets and whatnot, and we might be able to help you. Maybe. Speaking for me at least, we might be able to help you out there. But get to the event, talk with as many people as you can, talk their ear off, and you'll find your way. Otherwise, any concluding notes that I've not thought of?
Just don't be afraid to approach us. We try our very best to be as open as we can possibly be. That's because that's what we're all about. We're all about educating. So, any questions that you have at all, don't hesitate to approach us.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be intimidating in a certain sense, watching all these other people, who clearly know each other very well, and they're all wearing the same stuff, sitting in a circle, to just sort of walk up and be like, "Hi, who are you?" But that's what we live off of. Do that.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, all right. I think that about covers all that. So, thank you very much. Sergeant, for joining me here today. Pop over to his channel. We're gonna do something exactly like this, but on the other side of things. And then otherwise, until the next time, my dear viewer, I am and I shall remain your most humble and obedient of servants.
And God save the King.
God save the King.